Commission, and it's 3 o'clock, and I'm called the meeting to order. Do we have any public comment?
No, sir.
All right. Before we begin the agenda, I've asked our finance director, Dave Owens, to come up and introduce the staff here, and just to give you a little sense of why I'm feeling this way. I'm feeling very proud of our finance department. The fact that, again, they've had another audit with no findings at all. And I was trying to look on the internet and find out what percentage of companies are like that. And we are definitely in the minority. Most companies have findings on audits. And, you know, the finance department here is really what I consider the operational backbone of our organization. When you think about the fact, I mean, we're out in the public there. We got a lot of people in trucks and big trucks and things and fixing things. But it seems like the real serious work here is going on right back through those doors there. And I just want to make sure that we can acknowledge all the work of all these people in the finance department and how much we appreciate it. We get a summary every month, but we know to get to that summary, we know what you do to have to give us that information. And, you know, we as sitting here on the commission don't have day-to-day interactions with you, so we think we'll be more comfortable seeing names and faces and your roles and everything, and we appreciate that. And one other thing before Dave starts is, since I'm old enough, I remember when the bank used to do us a favor once a month and send us an envelope filled with canceled checks. And I can't tell you how many people came to me on a monthly basis in my family and said, help. And I also had a friend that worked in the bank, and she swore that she spent 25% of her time, instead of opening new accounts, balancing people's checkbooks every month. And I know that's something that we used to do once a month. As consumers, we don't do that so much anymore, but I know that this goes on every single day here. And so I definitely appreciate it. I'm sure a lot of people do. So Dave, could you do the honors and introduce your staff for us, please?
Thank you very much, Commissioner Cook. With such glowing remarks, you're probably bound to start an inter-department rivalry thing going on. But
okay. We can live with that.
But I'd like to introduce each member of the team one at a time and have them come up. The first person I'd like to bring up is actually needs no introduction at all because you all know her so well. Frances Wilson, come on down.
Yay.
And that's an inside joke with the finance department. Frances oversees our general ledger and accounting functions, including accounts payable and accounts receivable. She's heavily involved in our annual financial audit and budgeting processes. She deals with bonds, bond draws, prepaids, treasuries, projects, and fixed asset accounting. You name it, Frances does it. Next up, I would like to bring Terry Grantham up. Terry is our accounts receivable coordinator, and she's responsible for daily cash counting, deposits from our lobby, lockbox activity. She makes sure that our cash receipts are properly applied to customer accounts. She also gave the company another valuable asset, her son, David Grantham.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he is.
Next, Luke Orser-Schwalm. Luke is our finance manager. He oversees billing and collection functions. He is an outstanding resource for information on our customer service systems and processes. He's deeply involved in specialized areas such as bad debt and unclaimed property. And he also hosts our annual Christmas party and is one hell of a cook. Lisa Martinez. Lisa is our billing manager. She directly supervises our two billing coordinators and manages the billing process. She creates our bill reading calendar each month, which sets the pace for the billing group. And she's also involved in specialized situations such as creating our FLETC bill each month. She runs Bill Route 999 and assists in route assignments, error corrections, and customer billing information reviews. Next are two billing coordinators, Tanya Lander, who is our second longest termed employee at 28 3/4 of a year.
Wow, wow.
She creates customer bills, does bill runs each month, prepares them for distribution, is involved in running bill routes, error checking, preparing bill print files that go to Doxum, our bill printer and mailer. And Mary Smith is our second bill coordinator. Mary would be our third longest term employee at 21 and a half years. Now, I basically just told you everything that Mary does when I told you what Tanya does.
Right.
But we have such a large,
No, you're fine. No,
yeah, we have such a large customer base that we need two people to get our bills out each month, and they both do a great job. But another thing to note about Mary is she's considering retiring at the end of this year. Frank Hobbs, our collections specialist. Frank is the longest term employee we have here. He's coming up really close to 29 years.
Wow, okay.
Beating out Tanya by only 2 months and 23 days. Frank is responsible for collections activities. He deals with our customers who have not paid us, helps get that money in, helps them set up payment plans. He's also been an invaluable backup to Tanya and Mary, learning the bill coordinator function and filling in when we have gaps there. And he also learned the cash counting process to back up Terry, should she need to be out for any reason. Last and certainly not least, Brenda Van, our customer information systems analyst. Brenda is definitely what we would call a multi-purpose employee. She processes residential deposits, prepares all the monthly water reports that I use to create our annual water loss audit. She prepares our podium notices each month, including cutoff and follow-up notices to customers. She was heavily involved in the meter project and continues to work with our meter services folks, updating registers. And for anything that's data-driven, we call on Brenda. She was even brought in to work on the weekend back in, I think it was June, when we had an urgent need to create a lot of new customer locations for Vasa Cape. So this is our finance team, and I would certainly be lost without them, and I'm very privileged to work with such a great group of people.
You got your picture? Wait, let him get his picture. Come on in, Dave. Okay, we go. All right, squeeze in tight now, everyone. All right. I want to thank all of you for coming. We really appreciate your work.
Thank you.
All right, good.
No raises or bonuses, just attaboys.
Spoken like a true finance guy.
Thank you, everyone. Back to work now. All right, let's move to the approval section of the agenda here. Item number 1 is the minutes from the December 17th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? That passes 3-0. All right, item number 2 is change order number 1, 4002 CIPP project. Mr. Burrows?
Yes, sir. This was presented to the Facilities Committee. This is a little bit complicated because we awarded a contract about 18 months ago to Bionomics to align just shy of 27,000 linear feet of gravity sewer in downtown Brunswick. The original contract amount was $1.74 million, but there were line items in that contract that were as needed. So heavy cleaning, root cutting, lateral cuts, things like that. So at the time it was awarded, we did state that the contract price would come in above the amount that was originally contracted because we could not project how many of those line items would be needed. Well, those line items were used. However, they have come to us now. They've had significant staffing challenges during this project. We're on our fourth different on-site superintendent, and they've gotten drastically behind schedule, and they began cleaning lines, the 15 and 24-inch diameter pipes. They've done most of the 8-inch pipes already they were going to line. They've determined, and there's a letter attached from Bionomics, that those lines are not suitable for lining, and they are requesting descoping. They're worried about having to remove the existing tuberculation inside the pipe. These lines do have laterals on them. A lot of larger diameter lines do not have individual connections on them, but in downtown Brunswick, a lot of those lines have individual connections, so you have to actually get them much cleaner than normal to cut the existing lateral connections out, and they are worried about damaging the pipe. They also they did say that they would be willing to work on these lines for us at a substantially increased price with no guarantees that that would be effective. They indicated that they would be happy to continue working on these lines at $10,500 a day for cleaning, with an estimate of 2 to 4 weeks per segment to get them clean, which is $100,000 to $200,000 per segment to clean the pipe. And there's no guarantees that the pipe would not fail at that moment, or that if it would, even if it did not fail, that it'd be suitable for lining. So to descope the 15 and 24-inch lines in the pipe is a reduction in the contract. So adding the used items that we talked about earlier and descoping these 15 and 24-inch sections works to a $33,466 deduction in the original contract amount. As I mentioned, there's the letter from Bionomics requesting the descope, and then here are the as-needed line items of $234,600. That is not unexpected, that number would be that high. And then here are the items that are the segments that are being descoped. It's about 3,000 feet of pipe that they're requesting being descoped. $268,000 worth of lining, $234,000 worth of as-needed items, for a total deduction of $33,466. The discussion at the Facilities Committee meeting is what to do now. And so we will be putting out request for quotes for survey because we will bid this work for these segments for multiple methods. We'll get bids for potentially digging and replacing, bids for if somebody does want to try to line them, and bids for potentially pipe bursting. Pipe bursting is probably less attractive because simply when you pipe burst, you still have to dig every lateral connection. And if we have to dig all the laterals in downtown Brunswick that are on these lines, you're going to end up digging up the street anyway. So you might as well open cut and dig and replace it. So we'll be coming forward with that in the very near future. These lines are down near Glynn Academy and on Reynolds Street by the courthouse and the Pate Building. These are not the easiest lines to work on. And so the reason we were trying to line these is because it will cause significant disruption to dig and replace these lines. But the contractor has indicated that they are not suitable for lining.
Any questions on this?
They did get one of these lines clean enough to line, and it took them 4 weeks of cleaning to get it to the point where it could be lined. Mm-hmm. There are a few segments remaining of the 8 and 12-inch pipe to be rehabbed. They have committed to having those completed by March 31st. The Facilities Committee amended the motion to include the deduction and descoping with the commitment of being completed by March 31st, if y'all would like to do the same.
All right.
I'll move that the Finance Committee recommend approving the change order number 1 for the 4002 base and CIPP project with Bionomic Services for a reduction in the contract amount of $33,466.
And do we want to add by,
We did.
And completion of the remaining work by March 31st.
with a completion date of March 31st, 2027?
six?
Six.
Second.
All right. Second on that? All right. How old are these pipes?
Those were put in the 50s, 50s and 60s, most of them.
Right. So what kind of material are they?
Most of these are either ductile or cast iron.
Okay,
So the iron lines, they tuberculate on the inside, so they basically grow material on the inside. So the 24-inch lines have about 2 to 3 inches of growth all around the inside of it, and to knock that off, you have to take a chain and knock it off, and they're afraid if they knock that off, the pipe's going to collapse.
right. So these are beyond the normal scope of lifespan of the pipes?
Yeah, I mean, typically we're in the ballpark where you start replacing them. They're 75 years old.
Pushing the edge. Okay.
So, like I said, the challenge with these lines is the locations.
Right.
And we'll have to work through that process.
I know we always hope for minimal disruption of yeah. All right, any other matters, questions, this? All right, all those in favor indicate, passes 3-0. All right, this is next item number 4, the liquid oxygen feed logic changes.
Yes, sir. So I put the most complicated title I could on there so no one would know what I was talking about. We operate a liquid oxygen system at Academy Creek. That's how we inject liquid oxygen. We then evaporate that and it goes into gas. We inject that into the headspace. Liquid oxygen is the second largest single line item operating expense in our budget for the last 3 years, at an average of $1.76 million. The only one that's larger is wages. So if we're able to automate this system, it could allow us to have significant cost savings. Electric Machine Control has done extensive SCADA work for us and also provided automation of other systems. And we asked them to take a look at how could we automate the feed control on the oxygen system. They've done a thorough audit of the existing system and have recommended some necessary equipment and have determined the ladder logic changes necessary for the PLCs that control these two systems. There's 2 tanks, so you have to do both of them. It is a very slow reacting system, so they have to take that into account because we will monitor the end stage oxygen. So any adjustment you take takes 2 to 4 hours to actually take place, and the system will have to learn how to control it and how quickly and or slowly it has to adapt. The cost for the work is $45,808.10. Now, most wastewater treatment plants do not use liquid oxygen. They use blowers to spray dissolved oxygen. As we did at Dunbar Creek, we have dissolved oxygen control over there. Typically, you save anywhere from 15 to 30% of power costs when you control a blower system. If similar results are found here, you would recoup this $45,000 in less than 2 months. I actually think if they're able to get this dialed in, we could save well more than 15% on this project. So I think we could potentially be saving $45,000 a month if this is able to get dialed in correctly. So 4 to 8 weeks to complete the work. So the recommendation is to award this to Electric Machine Control and let them attempt to control it. They can get it controlled, but we'll have to refine the process as they get it going.
How are we doing the feed now? Is it
It's
manual?
manual.
So the whoever operator is on duty?
Whoever, they make a round every couple hours, they'll look at it, all right, DO's too low, we're making an adjustment, because it takes 2 to 4 hours for it to see.
Right.
They'll have either adjusted it too much or not enough, and so it's both sides.
Like turning a tanker around, huh?
Yes, exactly. And again, if we're able to automate this, we could be looking at substantial cost savings down the road for us.
Any questions on this matter? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Finance Committee recommend the full commission approve the agreement with Electric Machine Control Incorporated for the automation of liquid oxygen feed control at the Academy Creek plant in the amount of $45,808.10.
I'll second.
All right, any other questions? All right, all those in favor indicate. All right, it passes 3-0. Item number 4, the lift station purchase.
Yes, sir. So this is a combination of 3 different purchases on one memo to avoid there having to be 3 separate memos. So we have 3 pump stations that have pumps that need repair or replacement. 2 stations on the island. 2003 is on Stewart Avenue in Oglethorpe Park. 2030 is on Stranger Cemetery Road back behind Frederica Academy. And then pump station 4119 on the mainland at the intersection of Highway 99 and Golden Isles Parkway. Those pumps were pulled. They have repair needs. Once we got the quotes to repair, we then decided we'd get quotes to replace. And so we got quotes from Xylem, who produces flight pumps, Pump and Process, who sells KSB pumps, and Hydro Service, who sells Sulzer pumps. And we'll take this a little bit of one station at a time. 2003, the cost to repair the existing pump that was installed in 2021 is just shy of $37,000. There's already been 1 repair of that pump over $20,000, and the pump's only 5 years old. I think it's just not working out for us. So the recommended cost replacement pump is from KSB at Pump and Process at $50,968. The cost to repair exceeds the depreciated cost of the asset. Skip down to 4119 because
How many horsepower is that one?
you
know?
I think they're 75s.
Okay, I thought that's what it was.
Let's see here. 84 and a half, sorry.
Okay, an odd number, okay.
Well, everybody's pumps hair different. You know, some on are 78, some are 83s, and it's all.
Are we getting the same kind of pump?
No, this is a different. They're existing Grundfos pumps in that station. We're replacing one Grundfos with a KSB here.
Okay.
And at 4119, the one on the end of the spur, and 99, that's an existing Wheelo pump. We got it pulled, sent for repair. The repair cost is $41,103. We can buy a new Sulzer pump for the station for $33,010. So we'd like to move forward with replacing the pump for $8,000 less than repairing it. And then 2030 is a quadplex station. Most pump stations have 2 pumps. This station has 4 pumps in it. When that station was designed, they were designed as all 4 being the same size. And what we have determined is, particularly in the middle of the night, the pumps are oversized for the flow, so they start and pump down the station very quickly, and then they shut off. And those recurring starts and stops are not good for the pumps. So actually 3 of those pumps have been pulled for repair. There's 1 pump in the station, and we have a permanent bypass there. So we're not in any danger. But the cost to repair those 3 pumps is $45,897.96. We're recommending replacing with a primary and jockey pump setup. So we'll have 2 larger pumps that deal with high flow situations and 2 smaller pumps to deal with low flow situations. That way the pumps don't short circuit like that. Calculator. So the cost to the 2 larger pumps, we're recommending buying KSB pumps for $27,933. That is 2 pumps. And then the smaller pumps from Sulzer, 2 pumps, $18,687.50. So the cost to replace 4 pumps brand new is $46,620.50 compared to repairing 3 pumps at $45,897.96. So all told, purchase 3 pumps from Pump and Process for a total of $78,901 and 3 pumps from Hydro Service for a total of $51,697.50. And there are copious amounts of supporting documentation if you would like to go through the pump curves and all of those sorts of things this afternoon. I joked with the Facilities Committee that David sent them to me and told me I had to look at them, so I gave them to you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on this.
I move
matter.
that the Finance Committee recommend approving the purchase of pumps as presented from Pump and Process Equipment in the amount of $78,901 and from Hydro Services in the amount of $51,697.50.
Second?
All right. One question is the, are these significantly higher costs than the original cost of I mean, pumps gone up as much
Pumps
as
have gone up drastically. We bought I don't remember the exact dollar value, but the 2003 pumps we put in were around $30,000 a piece, and now they're $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
The 4119 pumps were in the $20,000 range. Those are 33 now, so you're looking usually somewhere in the 40 to 50% range. And we did get quotes from Flight. We do like Flight pumps. The Flight pumps were all 30 to 40% higher than the prices we see here. They're just pricing themselves out of the market.
And I can't remember, what's the lead time in this? I can't remember.
Depends on different ones. A couple of them are actually shelf items, so we should have those quickly. But like the
I see
2003 pump is 12 to 14 weeks.
12 to 14, yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
So it's depends on which pump it is. The larger pumps take longer to get here because they don't keep those on the shelf.
of course. All right, any questions on this matter? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Passes 3-0. All right, number 5.
All right.
One of our famous surplus items.
Surplus inventory. We are going through all of our existing equipment. Miss Crosby's team with the fleet. We're in the process of putting together a fleet master plan, so we're trying to get all this updated. And we have determined that this item is no longer necessary. It is a 2002 Sterling Hotshot, what's the word I'm looking for? Jetter vehicle. It does not run, and the repairs drastically exceed the value of the vehicle. This has been used as a backup, but the backup is no longer working. So the request is that we declare the 2002 Sterling Hotshot as surplus, and we'll dispose of that in the manner most beneficial to the JWSC. Most typically, that is put on gov deals and allow people to bid on. Somebody will probably buy this and try to put money in it and see what they can get done with it, but it would not be the best use of JWSC resources to try to rehab a 24-year-old piece of equipment.
I wouldn't think so. Pam, do you go out to look at these? You get a field trip out of the office?
Mark actually went to this one, but I've seen this one before. It's out at 4039.
Oh, okay. All right. I was just wondering if they let you out of here a little bit.
We don't have a place that, once we are looking at these, we put them out there, and like this month, we didn't have it on the list this time, but there's like a tobacco that we'll have next month.
Okay.
Because we do try and figure out, okay, what all's wrong with some of these things to see if they are salvageable.
Yeah, well, we recently ordered a new truck for distribution. When that comes in, we're going to get rid of, I think, 2 trucks because we Frankenstein one together out of the 2 other ones.
I got you.
So,
And when someone buys this, if someone on deal.gov, do they come and pick it up? And
Yes, usually they'll do it, or sometimes depending on what it is, they'll have a transport pick it up.
we typically have to help them load it, but
okay, yeah.
Roll off before.
Wave goodbye on the way out. I got you.
There's always a lot of interesting stories around the day that the surplus people show up. You know, they never come the time they tell you, or they come to the wrong place,
Or maybe
don't have
not,
the right money.
maybe not show up at all.
we might get a whole like $2,500 for this thing by putting it on gov deals, so.
All right. That puts a smile on Dave's face. That's
It
fine.
does.
But we're happy to have it on.
All
Yes.
right, thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion on this matter.
Move that the Finance Committee recommend that the full commission approve the above listed items as surplus to be disposed of in a manner most beneficial to the JWSC.
Second?
All right, all those in favor? Passes 3-0. Item number 6 is signature cards. Bank signature card update.
This is the most exciting item you'll get to do all year.
Yep. It's a pulse pounding thrill a minute. Good afternoon. As you know, it's standard practice for the Brunswick-Glynn Joint Water and Sewer Commission to have 5 signatories for our banking and investment accounts. These are typically the chairman, the vice chairman, executive director, deputy executive director, and director of finance. And periodically, those have to be updated. Also, Section 10.A of our financial policy requires 2 signatures on any check issued over $5,000. And additionally, to enhance controls, for the JWSC's investment accounts, we have 2 authorized signatories required for our investment transactions as well. Due to the election of a new vice chairman this year, we need to update our signature cards. So at this time, staff is asking the Finance Committee to recommend the full commission approve the BGJWSC chairman, vice chairman, executive director, deputy executive director, and director of finance be authorized as signatories for our banking and investment accounts and to sign the necessary signature cards.
All right, I'll entertain a motion on this.
I'll move that the Finance Committee recommend the full commission approve that JWSC Chairman, Vice Chairman, ED, Deputy ED, and Director of Finance be authorized as signatories for banking and investment accounts and to sign the necessary signature cards.
I second.
All right, all those in favor? Matter passes 3-0. All right, and don't leave yet. You're up, still up. The financial statements for the month ending January 31st.
It's more excitement from the world of accounting.
Okay.
We have our financial statements as of January 31st, 2026, and it was a nice quiet start to the calendar year. We did see a decrease in cash and cash equivalents of just under $500,000 for the month, putting us at $3,429,617 in our cash and cash equivalent accounts. This is normal activity, payment of bills, movement between funding reserve accounts, et cetera. Nothing else of significance happened in our current assets, so our current assets stand at $11,734,289 at the end of the month. Our restricted cash accounts, we did see a sizable decrease in the SPLOST account of 1.165 million. That was basically funding expenses that we have made on SPLOST-related projects this year, most particularly the Exit 29 elevated storage tank. And
To that point, we're getting about 300 to 325 a month in SPOS accounts. We have 3 active SPOS projects going on, and a typical month is somewhere in the million to 1.5 million on invoices from those 3 projects. So we are outstripping the collections, but that's fine. We'll pay ourselves back with the SPOS money if we get out ahead of it. So
Oh, yes. And we also had a bond draw from our construction funds, or trustee-held funds account of about $463,000, putting that account, or that particular fund, at $4.756 million. Total restricted cash came in at $61,530,857 for the month. Capital assets, we did have a lot of activity there because we capitalized a number of projects, which I'll mention in the project report where you can see those listed. But essentially, we capitalized $8.29 million in projects. We also added almost $3 million in dedications to our fixed asset list. And then depreciation was a normal standard of almost $703,000 for the month. That brought our total fixed assets net of depreciation to a $177,463,908. That capitalization, of course, decreased the construction and property account. Basically, moving funds out of there being offset by what was moved in for projects was a net change of about $3.5 million, putting construction in progress at $47,262,839 for the month, and that brought our total capital assets to $224,726,746. Sorry. Yes, that's total capital assets, sorry. Total assets was $299,473,000. On the liabilities side, accounts payable increased $1.8 million to $2,996,395. And that was the only significant movement on current liabilities. Total current liabilities coming in at $12,265,000 for the month. And that brought total liabilities to $77,382,000 for the month of January. Third page, our revenue and expense summary. Year to date, we've had operating revenues of a little over 2.5 million. No, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong column. $26,212,000, which is $2.5 million ahead of budget. All normal activity, nothing particularly strange going on there. The expenses, operating expenses, still running high, and currently showing the $2,063,000 over budget at $9,657,000 for the month. Total operating expenses came in at $18,385,000. We did see a decrease in bad debt expense, and if you recall from November-December timeframe, we saw accounts receivable balance increase significantly. It has come down, and that is the reason for the reduced estimate on bad debt expense, and thus that decrease that we saw there. So year to date, our bad debt expense now stands at $255,683. Going to the next page, we have a more detailed breakout of our expenses by division. Finance, of course, is running a significant overage to budget, as mentioned before, and that's group insurance and deductible reimbursements are driving that. Wastewater operations and treatment plants, operations overall is $44,000 better than budget, but the treatment plants are $1.6 million behind. And oxygen is probably the biggest driver of that. As Andrew commented earlier, we've spent $621,000 on oxygen so far this year.
Can I ask a question about, is there a limited source for buying oxygen?
Last time we bid oxygen, I think we only got one number back, if I remember correctly. We have,
Well, part of it was, remember, all the companies
Yeah.
were merging and there were less suppliers in the marketplace, but we also, there was part of it that we were going to change part of the process.
Right.
And the way we used to own the tank, and we decided we were going to.
but we have got in contact with a couple of other vendors
Yeah.
that we're
There's some people that are interested.
trying to get more players in the game so we can potentially rebid that out and see if we can get some different pricing structures.
Right, it'd probably be better than
The
filling
oxygen
stuff,
market,
yeah.
not unexpectedly, the oxygen market went haywire during COVID
Yeah.
because hospitals needed oxygen in great abundance. And ever since then, it seems like every 3 months, every time we cut our usage down, we get a letter saying the price is going up.
Yeah.
They
You
gotta
know,
keep
the
their
situation
margins.
we're in,
Yeah.
we must have it. so-
Exactly.
Right, okay.
And I don't like being in situations, and this is not just an oxygen, where the marketplace is trying to drive everyone to being wholly dependent on one provider, and they can change the prices on you, and we're trying to eliminate that situation, because we have no control over those costs when they just decide to update them by 30%.
Thank you.
Yes, some of the other drivers of operational expenses within the wastewater division, electricity at $71,000, equipment repairs, $267,000, rentals, $194,000, biosolid removal, $182,000 year-to-date. Going next to our cash report. This mirrors what we see in the cash and investment section of the balance sheet. The revenue account at $3,050,000 for the moment. Total, repair and replacement reserve. That saw a little bit of movement, about a $300,000 increase as we added funding to that account to cover future expenses. The bond account I mentioned, we had a $463,000 draw there. And of course, the SPLOST exit 29, that, a $1.165 million decrease there to cover expenses related to exit 29. Basically, we're at total cash of $66,915,981. $4,180,000 of that is in overnight, and the remainder in investments and restricted funds.
Can I ask another question, Mr. Bowers? On our reserves, some of that is driven by the fact that we have bonds outstanding, and some of it is just industry standard. Would that be a fair statement?
Certainly, yes, sir. We try to keep a certain number of days cash on hand for an operating reserve, and that helps with our bond rating and things of that nature. And then some of the the elective reserves, most of those are elected by the board for projects.
Thank you.
Looking next at our investment portfolio. Currently, our total market value of our investments, $49,271,504, which is yielding 4.1% yield to market. We continue to see our yield on cash decrease, but it's still just a hair above 3.5% at the moment. And our current holdings are showing an unrealized gain of $168,000. We've got three investments that will be maturing this month. And we did see a negative fair market value adjustment in the month of January of $43,897. So the world of the wider economy and interest rates continuing to move and not wholly favorable at the moment, but hopefully things will stabilize in that arena. Next page to the project report. Let's see. We added a project at the bottom of the list, project number 2604R, Academy Creek Clarifier. No costs have been added to that. See, Project 2213, the Exit 42 elevated storage tank, that saw an increase in year-to-date costs of $106,000. And below that primary table of currently active projects, you'll see that we added 6 projects to our fixed asset register, capitalized 6 projects, 4 pump station rehabs and the ARCO water and sewer expansion engineering and the project itself. Those 4 projects, or 6 projects, I should say, that accounted for the over $8 million that we capitalized this month. And if you have any additional questions or...
Any other questions, gentlemen? All right, thank you so much, Dave, we appreciate it. All right, we have one more item on our discussion, the ERP project update. Mr. Burrows?
Yes, sir. So we are at a crossroads in our ERP project where we need feedback from the board on how we are to best continue. The main driver of this discussion is with the new ERP, the financial software. Part of what comes with that and what we were hoping to get out of that is a new customer portal online that is much more user-friendly. People can do more things online, better access to their billing data and things of that nature. These systems have now decided, and correctly so, that they can start taking some of those merchant services costs themselves for having these portals. We've gotten the 2 that we have narrowed it down to. We have gotten merchant services cost to those, and the merchant services increase is substantial when it comes to that. One of them is around 2.8, 2.9%, plus 50 cents per transaction. And one of them, they gave us a little bit of hope, but then when you got further into it, the hope wasn't as bright as we thought. It is 40 cents a transaction versus 50. And then they told us it was 0.4% per transaction, but it was 0.4% plus whatever the Visa, MasterCard, American Express fee was on top of that, which is going to work out in the very similar ballpark of somewhere around 2.8, 2.9%. Based off of our last year's figures, that is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of a $500,000 budget increase if we move forward with an ERP process. So we have essentially 3 options. We can keep what we currently have, which does have its warts, and Dave and LaDonna and Pam can speak to that more than I can. It does limit what we can do, and the customer portal side of things is less than desirable. And we will have to make some changes to it because they are wanting to end of life our current software, but they have another version that would cause some increase in cost from a software perspective, but overall shouldn't make too many changes. That would not come with significant cost increase. The other 2 options, though, if we would like to move forward with an ERP process, we have 2 ways essentially to pay for it, not the software cost. Currently, we absorb all transaction fees for people to pay our services. So if you pay online or in the lobby or anything like that, you pay with a credit card, we absorb all of those fees. That decision was made 2019, somewhere in that ballpark. The board voted to absorb all those fees. We could, moving forward, begin passing those fees on to the customer base with the assumption that they would be paying that somewhere in that 2.8, 2.9% range for using the credit card, both in the lobby and online. They would get access to much greater services in that point. A lot of government agencies, utilities do pass that cost on. That's something we could consider. The other option, which I am very much not in favor of, is if we would like to consider continuing to assume those costs ourselves, we would basically be forced to raise rates in order to assume those fees. And that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to raise rates to assume those fees. So we have 3 options. We could do, the last one obviously is the least attractive of the 3. And so before we move forward with any further detail and effort on this ERP process, would you like us to continue moving forward with the ERP process, understanding that to do that would mean us having to start passing on those transaction fees to our customers once again? Because if the answer to that question is you're not interested in that, then I don't think we're going to be able to update our ERP with anything that's going to change anything. But if we want to pass it on, we can move forward, finalize visits with like similar utilities and see if the system works and start moving forward that process. But it is a significant change for our customer base for us to make that move.
As businesses grow, they have to adapt. And being the owner of a local retail business, we had to stop absorbing the transaction fees, merchant fees, because it was killing us. It was a separate line item on my budget that I could look at every month and say, this is where we're losing money. And I understand that JWSC is not a retail flower store, but at the same time, we're still losing that money. And I think that I'm getting notifications from other people that I do business with that they are passing those fees along, and I highly recommend that we fall in line.
Well, I think I don't have any issues with that. We absorbed those fees with the full intention of allowing people to pay online because it was a huge issue, and it worked. We have about 10 or 11,000 people that pay online, but we obviously can't absorb $500,000 in fees.
But I don't think those 10 or 11,000 people are going to change.
Probably not.
Just because
not
they
many
pay
of them
merchant fee.
will change in that regard, and that will allow us to get access to a whole lot more features if we can pass that cost along.
Clayton, do you have any feelings on it?
No, I think the customers that use the online portal are gonna find the benefits. I have personal frustrations with it because I have managed multiple JWSC accounts, and I don't get all the information that I need, and
Our current portal is not user-friendly by any stretch.
so I think the customers expect to pay that fee. I can't set up recurring payments with Georgia Power with a credit card. I have to go in every month and pay with my credit card because they try to avoid, me and them incurring those fees. They want a debit card or they want an EFT. So I think our customers will be. I think that's a more palatable approach. And I think it would reduce the rates. We may have to have rates increased in June, but it may be lower if we pass along those transactions.
We're passing along those transactions now. For the customers that pay by check or pay by cash, they would not see those fees. But obviously, we would change merchant services providers for online payments and in the lobby. And if you swipe your credit card, there would be a fee associated with that. Those fees are that, like I said, it's a significant increase to our budget to continue to absorb those. And like for internal staffing purposes, having more flexibility with our software gives us a lot more capabilities to provide the reporting data that y'all need, but also for our customer base, these new software programs, to your point, you can go in, you can get usage data, we can communicate through these software programs to you, and it's all in one package. So we may be able to, we believe there will be opportunities to get rid of some other software packages we have that can all go in one suite. And it may be simpler for us going forward. And we get rid of having to store all this on servers on site. It all goes cloud-based, and it's an advantage for everyone. But it is, like I said, did not want to continue barreling down the path of a new ERP and then coming in here and saying, oh, by the way, we're going to have to pass these on to the customers without giving you an opportunity to weigh in on those things.
I think that in the last couple of years, that's become the expectation of anyone using a credit card. If I go to Farm 99, I always ask cash or credit. And then if you're paying with a credit card, you're paying more. But it's a convenience, there's no question. So, and I think also, the other thing is that all customers probably should be paying the same amount for their water. And if we're absorbing costs for people who are using credit cards, they're actually getting a little bit of a reduction in their water rates. Technically, I mean, that was originally what caused what was holdup, is everyone was supposed to pay the same amount for water.
Well, the current structure, we pay 10 cents per transaction and a very small percentage fee.
Right.
So we're not absorbing much cost
Not
at this
much,
point.
right.
At this point, but
It's probably, but it's going to be a little bit higher.
it'll be substantially higher going to the new system.
Of course, the other side is that whenever you move anything from local servers to a cloud base, you're increasing your protection from the outside world beyond, anything you could imagine.
Well, it's not only that, there's also the cost to replace the servers that come up periodically that we get to do away with. And something you may not consider, during storm events, this building is very flood prone. We have to relocate all of those servers to a different facility every time we have a storm. We won't have to do that anymore, things like that. There are benefits.
There's another part when you have software like that, is that because everything is browser-based and in the cloud, you really don't, when you go through a replacement cycle with your PCs, you don't need to buy high-end anything for regular people using everyday transactions. You can buy more closer to what they call a dumb terminal, which is just a minimal amount because all the information's coming in on your browser, and it's just a small amount of information on any screen. So you actually save costs in that replacement cycle. I don't know how often we replace PCs, but they're generally
Depends on the computer. We normally
about 5
most
years?
of our computers are 5 years old.
5 years, yeah. So there, yeah. And the other thing is, of course, is you reduce the responsibility of any IT people by not having the server here, having the software reside here in the building. And in an emergency, even if you carry your server off somewhere, it's not of any use to you. Whereas if it's in the cloud, as long as you have electricity somewhere and internet, you can work from anywhere. You could still run your billing cycle. If you drive 100 miles away, you could do it. So, so that's another thing. So I think we're moving in the right direction, very much so.
Well, certainly. As usual, like staff has put forth a lot of effort on this so far. We just did not want to continue putting forth effort on this if it was going to be a deal breaker.
So you're thinking about going out to do a little talk?
Some
to
site
another-
visits. We're trying to find a couple of trying to find water utilities instead of
Yeah.
combined government because they use the softwares differently. So we can go talk to the people in the field. You can talk to their sales rep. He'll tell you everything that's good about the software.
Right, yeah.
If we
They'll
talk to
promise you
the guy or gal that's actually using it every day, they'll tell you what's wrong with it.
Is this another field trip for Pam?
Could be. We've already had a few calls with people, and we find out sometimes, that some of the features people are using, some of the features they aren't.
Yeah.
So, we try to find, as much parity in roles and
Right.
functions.
Yeah, because software has so many features that lots of times you don't use, but that's true. And as long as you can get your everyday functions within that software package, then you're good. And maybe a few extras that you don't have now, or some workarounds that Dave could tell you about right now. So that's it. So, great. Okay, well, good. I think that's, I think we're definitely moving in the right direction with that. And like I say, I don't think it's too much to ask our people to do that, particularly if they can get more information on the portal, and we can eliminate some of our extra costs that we're doing now, and integrate everything into one package. So, great. Okay. Any other discussion? All right. I think we're finished on this.
Motion to adjourn?
All right.
Second.
All right. And we are adjourned. Thank you.